Today we'll be talking about deploying Wi-Fi monitoring sensors, a topic that has been greatly asked by many users who are looking to monitor the Wi-Fi network from the client perspective with the small hardware sensors like the Raspberry Pi, for example. So what should you know when planning the deployment of your Wi-Fi monitoring sensors? First, you have to ask yourself, what is the goal of the monitoring? As there are different types of data that you can get out of Wi-Fi monitoring. So I explain or list in this table 3 major requirements that we are generally asked when we work on this type of projects. So the 3 requirements are, first of all, test Wi-Fi authentication and association. So how long and if there are any problem for Wi-Fi clients to connect to an SSID that is associated and then authenticate up till get an IP address from the DHCP server. This has a medium complexity because from a monitoring perspective, it's something that can be easily done with 1 sensor per location. Because if one client can associate at a location on a network, most probably also the other clients can. It's not really dependent from the signal coverage, of course. At least that's not the primary factor that could impact your ability to authenticate and associate. So really, we want to test that the backend system are working, radius, the access point, the Wi-Fi controller, all the settings are correct. That's the major goal. Second, another requirement is, of course, make sure that once you're connected to the Wi-Fi network, you can reach the internet and what is the performance of connection to the internet. Parameters that are provided by this type of monitoring is, for example, download and upload speed to make sure that, again, the Wi-Fi network is meeting the SLAs advertised to the users. Also, this type of monitoring is relatively simple that can be done with 1 sensor per location because that sensor can be used as a benchmark or kind of a, you say, like the North Star, let's say that, in terms of internet performance for the entire user base. Again, it's of course an estimate, it's a benchmark where you assume that if one client can get that amount of download and upload speed, most probably also another client can get the same. Of course, in most of a configuration, the network bandwidth is equally shared oftentimes. The last requirement is more complex and is to test the Wi-Fi signal coverage and performance. This is something that you are also given data from the Wi-Fi management or Wi-Fi controllers with a heat map, but oftentimes that heat map is mostly provided by the access point management software, so it's really from the network perspective, not really from the client perspective. And oftentimes is estimated based on the location of the access point and the signal strength of the Wi-Fi signal, and then kind of the heat map is derived. It's not really measured in the sense where you don't have like from the Wi-Fi management perspective, you don't have other sensors that test the coverage. So with Wi-Fi monitoring sensor, you can do that. To do that, though, it's pretty complex in the sense that you have to deploy more sensors per location to have an accurate measurement. And generally, this is something that is also done during the design and before the implementation of the Wi-Fi network with a walkthrough or an assessment to see what is the best place where to place the access point. The same should be done when you are deploying Wi-Fi monitoring sensors. So specifically for this requirement, the site surveys, this is what they should consider. Generally, it's like the location of the access point, the layout of the area where the Wi-Fi service is offered. Consider it like fixed and moving objects located in that area. For example, if you have a water tank or an aquarium. Water, of course, alters the Wi-Fi signal. If you have like an area where there is a lot of people walking, that of course will affect your Wi-Fi coverage and so on. Other things to be considered is the noise generated by electrical and electromagnetic objects or engines, and then of course the number of concurrent users connected to the network. That's something that generally you do an estimate based on the expected occupancy of a building. So with that said, is that again, this is the most complex requirement for Wi-Fi monitoring, to monitor also the signal coverage on a building. Generally, you have to deploy more sensors, and generally like requires site survey before deploying such a solution. Very similar to deploying a Wi-Fi network in the end. So nothing new. To conclude here, I wanted to list some of key locations where that you should consider where you should deploy Wi-Fi sensors, and I kind of group them based on the environment, like a generic corporate environment. Maybe you want to install one sensor or more per boardroom, or more per conference rooms, and so on. And then education, maybe you want one or more sensor on an auditorium, one or more in classrooms, and so on. And then hospital. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, this slide. Again, if you want to learn more about this, we wrote a blog post on our website, netbiz.net/blog. That was published on, I think, August the 7th. And then, as always, we'll also upload the slides on SlideShare and the video on YouTube. So feel free to contact us to learn more about this. And I hope this video was informative. Thank you and have a great day.